is Joe Perkins, and I'm pleased to be here for this fifth and final installment of the CHEK News Spotlight. Stacey's been with you, I believe, all week, and you're stuck with me for this final day. To round out this week, we will be diving into the blue economy. Our guests today are Julie Angus, a well-known scientist, adventurer, boat designer, and entrepreneur, and Craig Norris, the CEO of the Victoria International Marina. Craig and Julie, thanks for being here.
Good to be here, Joe.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Craig, we'll start with you. A simple question to set the stage today and get everyone on the same page. We talk about the blue economy. What exactly are we referring to?
So I think the leading definition comes from World Bank. Is they say it's the sustainable use of ocean resources for economic growth, improved livelihoods, and jobs while preserving the health of ocean ecosystems. So it's sort of the sustainable development of our ocean systems.
How do you think Victoria's done in creating its own blue economy?
It's been here for a long time. I think going back tens of thousands of years, our First Nations were dependent on our oceans for the development of their civilization, and we continue to this day. So I mean, the ocean is an integrated component of all of our lives. I mean, we may have forgotten as we grow more distant from maybe our food sources and things like that, but it's all around us, and maybe some of the effort needs to really needs to be put back into. We're going to see sort of the bringing that back to the forefront and showing that, hey, yeah, we are surrounded by water, and guess what? Most of what you do is impacted by that.
Geographically, it makes sense that we would have a blue economy. We've got arguably the best inner harbor in the entire country. There's water all around us. We live on an island. Julie, I'll bring you in here. Victoria 3.0 is a plan that Mayor Lisa Helps and the city of Victoria have been talking about for some time now. They're about to roll it out, and there's a real emphasis here on the ocean and our proximity to the ocean. There's talk of a marine innovation hub, an ocean futures cluster, really plans to be a leader, a global leader in this blue economy. Do you think, though, that this is a little late? I mean, I'm curious as to why this is happening now. We just heard Craig say it's been around forever, yet now we have a city council that seems determined to get to push this further. So I'm curious your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think, it's a great vision. We have so many incredible companies, organizations, research, government institutions here that are involved in the ocean economy. So by creating a vision like this, a cluster and innovation hub, which provides a physical presence to bring these different companies together, we can accelerate the development of the ecosystem, bring more business to the region, and also allow us to better export it. So I would say it is never too late. We've done a great job growing our blue economy, but this will add another level onto it, allowing us to really accelerate that growth.
What does that look like? A marine innovation hub. Do you have any idea?
Yeah, so we can look to really great examples in other places in the world. In Canada, on the East Coast, there's a lot of infrastructure in the ocean economy, so marine innovation hubs, clusters, accelerators. I'd say there's sort of three key elements to it. One is creating a cluster, so the ability to bring together the different stakeholders in the region, go after shared opportunity, leverage expertise, promote collaboration. Two is the innovation hub, so an actual physical presence where you can have shared resources. It can be a place for startups. It can be a place for more established companies. You can leverage that shared proximity to foster networks. And the other is an accelerator and really driving the growth of startup companies. So creating programming that allows innovation to thrive, that provides some of the skills and knowledge for technologies to go from that very early stage to a company to a growth stage.
A question for both of you. I'm curious what cities and countries are doing this right. I mean, Craig, you're the CEO of the International Marina down in the Inner Harbor. You are tapped in. You talk to other marinas around the world. You see what they're doing. If Victoria was to look elsewhere to get tips and suggestions on how to improve our Inner Harbor and our maritime economy, where do we look to? Craig, I'll start with you and then we'll jump over to Julie.
I do think we're unique. You know, everyone thinks they're unique. I believe we are. So I think there's a combination you can take from different places around the world. On this innovation topic, I'm going to go with Norway. They've been helping us along the way in the development of understanding what we're proposing here for an innovation hub, which is really just, you know, looking at doing something that we do well, but doing it on purpose so that we can take it to a much higher level and compete globally. I mean, you were right about saying we're a little behind in that. Take Norway, for example, their defining number is around 600 billion that they're talking is involved in this, innovation type cluster development, whereas our ocean sector is around 30 billion. So we're orders of magnitude lower. That being said, there's things being developed across Canada, the ocean supercluster, it's already on its way. So we're getting there. We're getting to the starting point where we can really launch fast. But I think Norway has done this incredibly well. I sit back in awe at some of the stuff I'm seeing from them. In marine tourism, you can look to the Mediterranean and Florida as well to what they've been doing over years. We're far, far behind them as well. But in many respects, we're ahead on a lot of things too. The world looks to us for a lot of green solutions and high technology right on our doorstep. So we are modest, but we have a lot of that stuff right here and we can contribute, or else somebody's going to do it for us.
Julie, same question. Norway, or is there anywhere else that we can be turning to?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Craig that Norway is known as being a leader. The GDP in the ocean economy is the highest there than anywhere else in the world. There's a lot of other regions around the world, though, that have great innovation ecosystems. Looking at the US, really along both coasts, you're seeing a growth in accelerators, innovation hubs on the east coast of Canada as well. You know, they have the Ocean Supercluster, they have Cove, they have Startup Project. And I'd say that, you know, a lot of this has really started to happen over the last few years. It's just now that there's beginning to be more of an increased focus on the potential in the blue economy, the potential for growth and improved sustainability. So we're definitely doing this at a right time, and it's really important for us in order to maintain our competitive edge.
I'm curious what's missing in Victoria, because I said when we started that I thought that Victoria had the best inner harbor in the country. And I mean that. I mean, we have a beautiful inner harbor in this capital city. And there's things missing, but there's a lot going on. I mean, we've got retail, there's tourism elements to it, there's innovation and technology, we've got the marina. So I'm curious, and when we talk about the blue economy, for me, and I'm not as close to this as you guys are, it's all of that, right? It's anything to do with our marine community. So I'm curious what specifically is missing from the equation here. I mean, as someone that's lived here a long time, I would like to see a walkway along the inner harbor, the entire inner harbor, no more parking lots. But that's that. So that's, for me, that's my answer. That's what I think is missing there. But I'm curious what you think is missing. We'll start with you, Julie.
Yeah, I agree that walkway would be nice.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be. So from my perspective as a CEO of an early stage ocean tech company, you know, we do marine robotics. We provide solar powered autonomous boats to help collect ocean data so that, you know, industries can operate more sustainably. I see that we're missing some of the support networks to allow early stage companies to grow, to commercialize the incredible technology being developed in our academic institutions, to foster collaborations between different companies, and to put ourselves on the world stage as a center for ocean innovation, which we are. But we need to work together to highlight our capabilities and strengthen them. So that's why I think that, you know, this Ocean Innovation Futures Hub is really an important step that we need to take forward to move in that direction.
Okay, so the answer sounds like it's innovation. It's coming up with green solutions and new technology. That for you is the focus, the missing piece, correct?
In growing the economy, like increasing, you know, our talent pool, allowing these companies to grow more, exporting more, bringing talent here and growing other companies here. Okay,
Craig, same question. What's missing?
Great comments.
They can't be international travelers.
So I'm going to go back to some primary stuff here, and that would really be about us marketing not only the business and the businesses that are involved in marine, but marketing it beyond, what we traditionally think of marketing as in going after somebody who's going to buy something. It's also about our youth and getting our message into schools about, how to use what the opportunities are there. Get participation going. You talk about walking around the harbor. That's just it. Use the water. We have to get people back using the water. The amount of kids that go out fishing these days is decreased. In fact, the entire message has changed to more preservation and looking at whales. And my kid's always bothering me about my business and, hey, Dad, what are you doing? I'm an environmental scientist from my background. I'm pushed every day to consider these aspects of how we can greenly grow this and the changing perspective we have on this. But that comes from working at that core source where we're talking about getting into our education systems, getting and using the water a little bit more, teaching people what we do. I think that will make things a lot easier. I'd love to jump right into the waterfront politics, given my background, but really all that's fueled by what we feel as a community and how important the oceans are to us, not just as something to look at. But they are something we live beside, we live within, we are part of that ecosystem, and how it affects us and how we can better use it to have a more sustainable future. That conversation needs to be out there, marketed. Let's talk about it.
A question from Peter, who writes in, and if you're watching right now and you'd like to ask a question to Craig or Julie, please use the Q&A function. Peter says, why is the blue economy, the priority for our limited lobbying effort over supporting other things? And I'm paraphrasing what he's saying here, and I'll add to this. So the question essentially is, explain to our viewers why the blue economy should be important right now. Why is that more important than, anything really? Again, COVID support, but really infrastructure and transportation and health, and there's so many things that we can spend money on and we need to spend money on right now. Why should this be at the top or near the top of the list? Julie, we'll start with you.
Sure. The blue economy is one priority amongst many, definitely. I think there's a lot of opportunities in the blue economy to grow economies, to improve sustainability, to educate talent, to increase diversity, equity, and inclusion, for us to have linkages with other nations. And so I think that's part of the reason why there's a focus on the blue economy. And you're seeing that globally, especially as countries look to emerge from the challenges of COVID and, deciding where to, focus the limited spending, and focusing on the blue economy can allow for some of the recovery that needs to occur and do that in a sustainable manner.
But is this a pressing issue, Craig? Is this more important than some of the things I listed before?
Did you say Craig or?
Oh, sorry, Craig. Yes, I said Craig. Sorry.
Okay.
My apologies.
It was quick in me. Is it more pressing? Oh boy. All of our lives are a little bit, I think if you look at a big picture and a long range plan, I mean, looking right now, I have a slew of people right outside my door here trying to figure out what Bonnie Henry's most recent announcements mean to us. And it's occupying all of us. So I'm going to look farther down and say that, listen, we're surrounded by oceans. We're already known on the world stage as a tech leader, as a green technology leader. It's just natural that we have all this history in ocean sciences. We're well positioned in one of the biggest growing regions in the world, which is the Pacific Ocean, and its market when you compare to sort of what's already been done in Europe. The world is looking to us. We're funny. We're just modest about what we really have. And I think if we focus on this, a lot of people I hear around the world when I travel go, "Why aren't you guys just doing this? You're insane." It's a huge opportunity. It's massive. We're way worse positioned than you, and we're already into it for billions more than you. What's wrong with you? So, yeah. I mean, if anything, we're being pushed a little when you travel and when you talk in other groups, but it just makes a hell of a lot of sense for our economy. This is an opportunity for us to grow and take a lot of what we're already good at and put it towards somewhere where the world is naturally going to to learn about our oceans and how it can help us, and things like carbon. You enter even the question, and it becomes, this is the biggest opportunity to make a difference in carbon that there is the oceans. And we've got some of the leading firms out here and leading people already starting on that topic, and there's many more.
So I'm curious, you know, when you talk to your colleagues and they say, what do you mean you're not doing this? Like, you live in Victoria, you live on an island. It's easy for me to see that there should be a relationship between Victoria and the ocean. It's part of our story. It's part of our city. And I'm just curious if there's a way to explain that to people that don't see it that way, that don't care too much about the ocean. They know we live on an island. They have to travel across an ocean to get to the mainland. But explain, like pitch us on why that person should care about growing this economy when there are a lot of other things happening.
Julie, do you want to start?
Yeah, I can definitely start. So I think, you know, growing our economy by focusing on our strengths is something that's important. We do have strengths in this area. We're well positioned geographically for it. You know, we have incredibly diverse coastline. We depend on our oceans. You know, coastal resiliency is incredibly important. Our commercial fisheries, indigenous communities, and the relationship to the ocean. So there are lots of reasons why we should focus on an ocean economy here in Victoria. And, you know, much of the world lives on the coast, but not everyone. But even those who are inland and are not impacted by the ocean benefit from a healthy blue economy. First of all, when you think of the impact that the ocean has on the globe, on the environment, it absorbs huge amounts of carbon dioxide. In fact, it has absorbed 90% of the heat that's resulted from climate change. It provides incredible quantities of protein for large areas of the population. 90% of our goods are shipped over the water. So even if you're not on the coast, what happens in the ocean really impacts you.
Craig, anything to add there?
Certainly. By way of example, the ocean is, you know, orders of magnitude larger than our land base. It has that many more organisms, and you know, as part of its ecosystem. And if you look at pharmaceuticals, let's just take that for example. The opportunity has been completely untapped in the oceans, and that's something that's in our future to start looking at. And you know, we can start right here. We can be leaders in this, and we're looking for income sustaining jobs. We're looking for people that can, you know, we want to keep our kids on the island. We want other people to, you know, our families to enjoy this area, and we need to work hard to look where we have that competitive advantage and where we can be leaders. And we need everything going for us, and, you know, fighting against you know, just natural economy of us being an absolutely gorgeous place and a place to live. Those housing prices are going to keep going up, and the only way we can deal with that is to get these jobs that fit with our region. And this is what we've identified that will lead to that. We have to move towards this, and it's not a tomorrow thing. This is a few years down the road that we're going to actually be able to look back and say, wow, that was a great decision. So
I have to ask Craig, the Victoria International Marina, it's a beautiful facility. The Songhees Walkway has been completely revitalized with the marina and the restaurant Boom and Baden we have there. It's a great spot to be, but we haven't seen those large boats that we saw before the pandemic hit. How are things going at the marina right now?
Well, in a word, terrible. You know, we couldn't have had a worse thing happen for us, really, with international travel going down, and really the advent of it. It's a gathering place for boats and people that are into the marine environment and into the ocean, and they can't gather. So it's been awful for us. We had set up this year. Last year, for example, we had 20 reservations for the summer on our first year opening, and this year we had over 200. So I mean, it takes about 5 years for any new marina to really get on the map and start to get busy. And this is year 2.5 for us, and it got decimated. So it hurts. We're optimistic. We know that the world will move on, and we'll be back there to be that international destination where we're hosting from all over the world. People want to come here. We get calls every day saying when. So we hope to be back to that, and we can turn that back up on and start seeing a lot of things happen.
Yeah, it's a beautiful facility you guys have there. I was saying before we started, some of the events that were hosted there before March of this year, they were fantastic. Like, it was one of the best spots to be in the city. So hopefully things get back on track. Julie, I want to ask you this. Before we came on, I took a look at some incredible looking autonomous boats. I believe they were solar powered. Give us a little insight into some of the stuff you're working on.
Sure, yeah. Our company, Open Ocean Robotics, it's developed solar-powered autonomous boats that can go out and collect ocean data. So some of the projects that we've been involved in is seafloor mapping. So much of our oceans are still unmapped, very important for coastal resilience, navigation. Another project that we just started was enforcement against illegal, unregulated, and unreported fishing. So of the fish caught today globally, 30% of it is caught illegally, which obviously has a huge impact on the wild fisheries. A big problem is that the oceans are so vast. I mean, 71% of the planet is covered by oceans, so you can't protect a lot of these remote areas. So vessels like ours can be deployed for months at a time. They're just powered by the sun, and they can be used to patrol and better understand some of these areas. And then another project that we're just starting to get involved in is marine mammal monitoring. So here on the West Coast, we have the endangered southern resident killer whale populations. On the East Coast, there's the North Atlantic right whale. So being able to better understand where they are, how they travel using acoustics, so listening for them in the water, is something that our autonomous boats are doing.
And if people want more information, where can they go on some of those great projects?
OpenOceanRobotics.com is our website. We're also on LinkedIn and Twitter, so any of those places.
Wonderful. As we wind things down, if you're watching and you want to get a question in, please do. Final thoughts to both of you. Craig, we'll start with you. Is there something you want to leave with people watching today as we wrap things up?
I think, listen for the progress when it comes to our Ocean Innovations Hub. This is really all the minds in the region coming together and saying, here's something that we can focus on to really make a difference in a collaborative, high-level way, and really help kickstart movement forward. And I'm going to put a plea out to other properties like ours and other businesses like ours. I have always invited developing technologies and entrepreneurs to come down to the marina. This is not just a place for boats. It's a place to interact with the marine environment. We have a number of different companies that are testing their technologies for free out in our marina and using the facility because it works well for that as well. So please approach us. We're more than just a marina. Please approach and other businesses that are on the ocean and out there can contribute. Let's think about how we can open our spaces to help the entire oceans community develop and grow.
Julie?
Yeah, I would say, keep an eye out for the work that we're doing in the Ocean Cluster and the Ocean Future Innovation Hub. I think there's so much opportunity in Victoria to enhance our ocean economy and bring our industry even farther along so that we're known globally as a key center for ocean technology and innovation.
To both of you, I thank you for your time today. That concludes our conversation, unless either of you want to get anything in.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, everyone. This
week.
No.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Julie, and for everyone here at CHEK News. Hope you've been enjoying the Rising Economy Week. There's more to go on this final day, but that's it for now. So thank you for watching.